Oh, hey, look at that. You're still here. Well, thank you very much for checking out this episode. I know there's probably going to be a decent drop-off between episode 2 and episode 3 because, yes, the last episode, there was a lot to talk about, especially in terms of, like, hey, this series is going to be a challenge series. It's going to be based in a little bit more reality, which is why I'm calling it our realistic series, you know, as realistic as it can be. I mean, again, you know, the fantasy series, you have the Milbury modes, the nations, the player type challenges. This is still more of a straightforward series, but yeah, there's a lot of rules that we've applied here to try and make it a little bit more difficult. And I thank you all for your suggestions, your comments, as we have crafted out these rules, kind of evolved the rules from what we had in the Carolina series last year, and built upon it, and in my opinion, made it better. We'll see whether or not it makes for an even more difficult series, a more challenging series. Ultimately, time will tell. Now, first things first, scoring has been tuned down. I talked about this in the Kings episode a little bit. We'll see how it plays out, ultimately. Again, check out the beginning of the Kings episode to kind of get more of a breakdown on that. And some of the other rules, I mean, yeah, we've made some decisions. Now, we are going to test it out as far as, like, okay, we're not going to have amateur scouts for a little bit. We're going to see how that works. I'm guessing not well, but no amateur scouts for the time being. In terms of drafting, we're still going with the next 7 and one of each position type, essentially, you know, the 7 draft picks that we're allowed to do. Trading-wise, for the most part, it's going to be through the trade finder. I might have to break that rule during the draft just for the sake of, you know, trading up and trading down just to make sure I make our 7, and we're going to go on that front. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Again, the rules are in the description. It reads like a lot, but really it isn't. It is pretty damn straightforward, if I'm being honest with you. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how this all goes down. Now, first and foremost, I do want to get to offering a couple of contracts if we can. Jacob Ingham he's not great, but we're still going to sign him because I'm going to be losing some players anyway. So we'll sign him to his ELC. No crazy rules surrounding him. He's just a player on his ELC. We're good to go. We don't really have to worry about saving any money. Cole Keller and Kevin Poulin will obviously be dropped. That's pretty straightforward. Defensively, it's a tough call with some of these guys. Redekop's obviously going to go. Strand could be brought back. It's kind of a tough call with a lot of these guys. Now, I mean, money-wise, we have $21 million to work with. I am not signing Ben Hutton to a $5 million contract. Top 4 defenseman or not, I am not signing him to $5 million bucks. I know he was pretty damn good for us this year, offensively, at least. There is no chance in hell that you're getting $5 million a season, Ben. So you're gone. You're gone. You're not getting $5 million a season. I can't believe he's asking for that much. That is insane. And technically, that would put him into the no trade clause debate too. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Joakim Ryan's going to go. He doesn't want to stay. Sean Walker, absolutely not. Not a chance in hell. I'm signing you to $4 million bucks. Okay, so you're gone too. Curtis McDermott? Okay, so see, Big Kurt's at least being reasonable. He's an RFA, so we have choices. I don't think I'm going to sign anybody here to a contract yet because everyone's being a little bit outrageous. Matt Luff, I would not mind re-signing now, but I don't think it's incredibly necessary. Again, the most I could raise that up to is 2. I want to see if he changes his mind about how many years he wants. Carl Grunstrom. Oh, God. Okay. Yeah, we're going to wait with everybody. We're going to wait. I am not exactly eager to sign some of these players given the circumstances of how much money they're looking for, because it's a bit too much. So I'm allowed to interview whoever the hell I want, but, you know, it's not really going to make a difference, is it? Considering we don't have amateur scouts. So let's move on here. Draft day. And let's see how we do flying without any scouts. Again, draft pick wise, we have the 13th. In terms of the total amount of draft picks, how many do we have? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So technically I have to get rid of one draft pick. It'll probably be later on. So we'll figure that out as we go. For now, we're going to keep that 13th pick. In terms of potentially trading anybody away, I mean, we're pretty much going to be stuck with Jonathan Quick. Pretty much. We could check the trade finder to see if there's any sort of offer out there for him, but unless we were to make a play, the only thing I can really think of is like, well, what if Robin Leonard's available? But unless he is, I mean, yeah, there's not really that much we're going to be able to do here. Is there a deal out there for Quick? There's not. So we're stuck with John. That's fine. For the defense, Doughty's obviously staying, Bjorn, Fott, Clegg, Anderson. I really like Walker, but man, getting something for him now might not be the worst idea with how much money he was looking to get. He was looking for $4 million. Now, I know technically off of those attributes, or off the stats, he's probably worth it. But I don't know. What can I get for him, I suppose, is the question. The answer is a second and a third. Good God, the answer's a lot. The answer is a lot. Parsons isn't really worth it. So a second and a third seems to be about the best we can do. Unless there's a player that really makes it worth it. I love Johnny Boychuk, but he's not that guy. 1 for Lindblom. Gustafson. Sjogard's interesting. Matt Sjogard's an interesting one. Second and a third is about the best, though. Joe Wall. Oh, boy. Second and a third for Walker, who we might have to re-sign for $4 million. That's a rough one. That's a rough one. And genuinely, I don't know what I want to do. Now, I'm surprised some of these guys have any trade value whatsoever. I said I wouldn't do deals where it's like I'm kind of exploiting the AI, but I want to see... Holy hell, the menu lag is insane right now. Probably because the Islanders are about to make their pick. Mavare, I'm guessing, and Phillips. Oh boy, Lafreniere to the Islanders. I want to see if I can get anything for these two defensemen. I'm not going to try to rob the AI, I guess. But it would be... I'm just intrigued to see what's out there. They shouldn't be that valuable. They're not going to make it. No trades found. We're probably... Yeah, see, these are the type of guys where I'm like, okay, I shouldn't exploit their value. Because we could pick up a third-round pick. It's not going to happen. I'm just stuck on what to do with Walker. I really am. Left wing, Grunstrom, Iafallo, Fogamo. Shafagulin is there. Yeah, we're pretty much stuck. Martin Ferk, a little bit of value there. That's about it. I think we're pretty much stuck with who we have. Pretty much. I'm intrigued by a potential Jeff Carter trade. First round pick from Calgary is decent. There's no limitation on... Wow, Eeli Tolvanen, Connor Ingram in a fifth. That's a pretty good deal from the Kings. Tomasino and Ingram as well. Not bad. Jet Wu, a fourth and a fifth. Hoglander, Cole Lind. I mean, I love Jeff Carter, but there's no limitation. He doesn't have a no movement or a no trade. we could easily move Jeff Carter right now. Pelletier is pretty good. Hunter Jones, a second and a third, is a pretty good deal. I really like Philip Tomasino. So the only thing I'm thinking is like, okay, Ingram might not be the best option, but he's okay. I don't know how well Hunter Jones is going to develop, and then obviously it's like, okay, Jet Woo's there. I feel like we have to pull the trigger on this. Sending Jeff Carter to Minnesota isn't a bad option because we do need another goalie in the system. I certainly didn't expect there to be an offer for Carter this early. In a way, I want to stay loyal, but again, we're not limited to keeping him. But in a way, my thought is like, okay, we can get something for him, or he can be playing with some of the younger players on the team, boost them up, and maybe we get better developments. That is the only question mark. Otherwise, yeah, it makes all the sense in the world to get rid of Carter as soon as possible. Of course, Akil Thomas is there, Kaliev, and yes, Iafallo's cap is up a little bit. Again, that's factoring in the Kovalchuk retention, which obviously I can't add behind the scenes when I start working on the rosters, basically immediately and not using an EA update from there. It's really just Jeff Carter. So we're going to see what happens when this next pick goes through. Again, Dustin Brown we're stuck with, which sucks. Kopitar, technically I could look to move, probably not going to. It's just the question of, do I want to move Carter? And I don't know if I do. I kind of want to keep him. Because a lot of people know, start of a series, I don't like immediately trading away all the problem contracts. It's like, let's suffer for a little bit. Not that Jeff Carter wouldn't be traded in real life. But if we combine Carter and Walker, first and a second, Pelletier a second and a third, Hunter Jones in 2 seconds, 2 seconds and Ingram. Jesus, Tolvanen, Ingram, and 2/3. That's outrageous. Tomasino a second and Ingram. They really want to send Johnny Boychuk here, huh? Like they really do. They really do. That Höglander second and a third deal is pretty good too. So Hunter Jones a second and a third. I really like Sean Walker, but it's like, how are we going to get that price down? I don't really see how we're going to do it. I really want to keep him, but $4 million, man. That's an expensive deal. It really is. 2 seconds and Ingram, Tolvanen, 2/3 and Ingram. I think I'm going to hold off. I wanted to at least explore the options. Now you have the ability to tell me if I'm an idiot for not taking them. Let's take a look at how this draft's played out so far. So obviously we're not going to know overalls, but names: Perfetti to Detroit, Byfield to Anaheim. Alanko is computer generated. Holtz, Lundell, Drysdale, Stutzel, Rossi, Oliver, and Holloway. So that leaves us with these players here. And for me, it's a pretty easy decision. There's a computer generated player here. The rest are real players, and I know how good they are. I don't know how good Yuri Zikov is, but I can presume that he is pretty damn good. So we're going to take this Russian defenseman, Yuri Zikov, rather than going for the likes of Gunler, Amarov, who we used in the Russian series. Of course, Hendrix Lapierre. I know people like, me to use real players on occasion, but you're essentially asking me to outright ignore a better player for the sake of a picture and name value. I'm not going to do that. Zikov is the pick. We have one of our 2 required defensemen. Our next pick is 44th overall. And just to look back through the first round, Gunler to Tampa, Amarov to Ottawa, Lapierre, Barron, Schneider, Smolanich, Azari, Poirier, Sanderson, Mercer, Bork, Sordif, Askarov to Colorado, Goulet, Mukhamadullin, Thompson, Perreault, and Niebeck. Then early in the second round, Wallander, Andre, Clevin, computer-generated players, Jan Mizak, Theo Rocher off the board. And that brings us to this selection here. Again, I'm not allowed to scroll down. It has to be from the 7 that you see here. Now, again, we have the real-life players, but then there's also Dmitry Kostitsyn, Hervinen's real. Ned Patrick is not real. Torsten Nylander is not real. So a defenseman and 2 centers. Kostitsyn was just not impressive at all in the KHL. Patrick, decent. Nylander with some penalty trouble. Again, we have nothing to go off of right now, aside from the stats. So I can take a center, or I can take the defense. 2 somewhat smaller centers. Kostitsyn probably has a good chance of being a 2-way. Nylander probably has a good chance of being a bit more puck skills heavy. And then Ned Patrick. I mean, really, I gotta be honest, we need more defensive help than we do forwards. Getting this defenseman out of the way would be nice. It really would be. I think we're gonna go for Ned Patrick. It just kind of makes sense to take another defenseman here and get that help on the back line like we need it. So pick number 3, we're certainly going to be looking for a forward or a goaltender. And there is a goaltender in Yuri Glebov, so that's fantastic. Because again, the rest of these guys are real. That's an easy decision. It's going to be the Russian goaltender Glebov. What's up with all the Russians all of a sudden? But Yuri Glebov, a little bit undersized. Excuse me. A little bit undersized. But we need a goaltender. He's the guy. Just kind of falls into our lap. We have no idea, of course, how good he is. But it could work out for us. So that's 2 defensemen and a goalie. 4th round pick, I do believe. And we are left with Derek Brooks, Stan Latipov, and the rest of the players are real. Thomas Wheating might not be real, but he's also a defenseman. So it's going to be either Derek Brooks or Stanislav Latipov. Brooks is a year older. Better point production. A little bit worried about the penalty minutes. A little bit worried about the pens. Let's see. Not a face-off guy, obviously, and it doesn't track hits or anything like that. So we either take the American or we take the Belarusian, who is younger. Good size. I think we're going to go for Latipov. I think we're going for Stan Latipov. Let's do it. Again, not much to go off of, but the penalty minutes, as we get our second pick of the 4th round, the penalty minutes really scared me off of Brooks. As here we have Arventi, Colombe, Nick Wong, Damon Hunt, Donovan Sabrango, Isaac Garfield. I know it's not Garfield, but I don't know how to pronounce his name. So right here, we are looking at either Nick Wong or Hayden Fowler, or I could trade down. It's at this point, though, where we're not going to get too many more computer-generated players. Nick Wong, 40 points, 44 penalty minutes. Fowler with 31 points, 40. It's going to be Nick Wong. So he will be our center pick. Nick Wong, come on down. Kingston Frontenac. We move into the 5th round. Again, we're going to be looking for a right wing here. If we can find one, there is not one. Let's do Set, Pilar, Bednar's real, Santiago Friesen is not. So we got a couple of options here, computer generated. But I really needed a right wing, or I could use my free pick here. To be honest, I think I'm going to play it safe and try to trade this pick away. This will be our trade down. And hopefully in the next one we get a right wing. It's kind of the game plan. Does anybody want this pick? The answer is yes. That is a legal trade for us. Is there anything better that's going to be offered than a 5th and a 7th? Ty Lewis, Vieni Vevalainen. Interesting. Vevalainen on a 6th. Sam Gagner. The rights to Sam Gagner, at least. No thanks. You know, I mean, 5th and a 7th isn't bad. Especially heading in the next year. Like the deal, I think, from Calgary would be nice. Picking up Vieni Vevalainen, though, I like getting another goalie into the system. I'm actually going to take this. We also pick up a 6th rounder next year. So this is our one trade down. And we pick up Vevalainen in the process. Honestly, I really like that. Do we know how good he is for sure? We don't. He's 23, but obviously we're losing Poulin, we're losing Keller. Yeah, I needed to bring in somebody. So I don't hate it. Let's sim to our next pick. And again, it's either going to be a free pick or a right wing. And there are right wing options. Josh Williams and Cole McKay, Martin Lang as well, and Emmett Pierce, who's 6'6". So Pierce looking okay, 34 points, 34 pims. Lang looking better. It's a Lang or Williams. Lang's actually, yeah, Lang's 18. Williams, the penalty minutes are down a little bit. I'm going to go for Martin Lang. Why not? Let's do it. And that leaves us free to choose whoever the hell we want with the 199th overall selection of this draft. And obviously here I'm going to look for computer-generated like roll-off. Gives us our best chance to be successful. Only played 8 games in Liga. We know a little bit about him. I don't know why. We never had an amateur scout this year, but the Pole, Shane Roloff, is the pick. And hopefully ends up being half decent. So that is our first draft done and dusted. Again, 7 picks. No more than 2 in a given round. We do trade down to make sure that we are within the set regulations. So again, one more look at the re-sign options. In terms of the deals that are up, Poulin and Keller are going to go. Walker. Yikes. He might be walking away for free. We might have made a big mistake. I'm hoping when we get to the re-sign phase that number drops. None of the numbers look to have dropped, so let's sim a day and see what we're dealing with here once we're in the re-sign phase. Let's see what we got. Hope for the best. So here we go. So for goaltenders, again, pretty straightforward. Kevin Poulin is going to be dropped. Cole Keller is going to be dropped. And that's pretty much the goaltending situation. Again, it's going to be Quick and Peterson, Villalta, Ingham, and Vevalainen. We'll re-sign somebody if we have to. Time will ultimately tell, though. For defense. Now, Ryan doesn't want to stay, which means he's out. Straightforward. If someone doesn't want to re-sign, they're immediately dropped. So Joakim Ryan is gone. Ben Hutton's going to go because he's a UFA. Yeah, which means we'd have to factor in a no-trade clause with him too. And I'm sorry, 4 years minimum, no trade. Like, he did well for us, but I don't want to be handing out contracts like that right now. So Ben Hutton's going to be dropped. Now, the good thing is about Walker, with RFAs, we don't have to worry about no trades and no movements. It is only for, the UFAs that we have to worry about that. So we're good to go on that front. I still don't know what I'm going to do about Walker, McDermott, Ledoux, or Strand. Chaz Redekop, obviously he's not great. He's going to be dropped. Pretty straightforward. Wingers, Trevor Lewis. I mean, he's in no trade clause territory. I like Trevor Lewis a lot, but not enough to give you a no trade clause. Not to even spin for it. So Trevor Lewis is gone. That leaves Ruff and Lempal. Luff and Rempal. The wingers. Obviously Grundstrom we're going to worry about. Perhorkin. Wood. He'd love to get that, wouldn't he? Alright, so Perhorkin's gone. He obviously wants a big payday after the 30-goal season he had. Again, I'm not saying that he isn't worth it. 54-point season, 30 goals. He's absolutely gone. And is this a side effect of the scoring being a little bit high? Yeah, it is. But that's something that I'm willing to deal with. I love Boko Amama. We're going to drop him for now. Sorry. I mean, he's not going to develop. We could bring him back as an AHL stalwart. Alex Turcotte. we will absolutely be signing to his ELC. Absolutely. Tim Schaller. Tim, I think we got better fourth line options. I'm sorry. And if menu lag doesn't kick in, we'll be fine. RFA-wise, Asimov, we could still bring in. Okay, so for the most part, we're going to have plenty of funds to work with. So goalie-wise, we're good. Defense. Walker. Okay, his price is down. The question is, what kind of development are we going to see from him? The good thing is, again, we don't have to worry about a no trade or anything. So I am allowed to use the 85% trick here. Now, 4 years would have it at 3.846, which would drop that down to 3.275 for 4 years, which if he develops into a top 4 option, that's a phenomenal contract. If he can keep putting up 40-point seasons, that's a really good deal. And then obviously, if we wanted to drop that, right? I mean, we could shave off not that much, honestly, by having it be a 3 or a 2 year deal. You know, just 200 to 400K. Honestly, I really like that deal. And I would expect at the end of the 4 years it'd be done. It's a pretty big risk because we don't know morale-wise what kind of step up he's going to have. But if he has another offensive season like that with minimal power play time, apparently, we're good to go. He doesn't hit, but he blocks shots like a madman. I think I'm going to commit to Walker. I am going to commit to Mr. Walker here, especially because the no trade and the no movement aren't a factor. It's just 3.275 is a hell of a lot better than over $4 million. We're going to offer him that deal. Now, obviously, could qualify and get him on a cheaper deal. Probably what I'm going to do with McDermott, but I preferred to have a little bit of control. So McDermott here, makes sense to re-sign him. Hope that he improves and then maybe get something for him next year. The problem is he takes a shitload of penalty minutes. He does. 16 points for him was very good. I don't really want him on this team. I like him, but he is just a brute. And I really don't want us taking that many penalties. So I could qualify him, but I genuinely don't think we're going to get anything for him. Kurt, I like you, buddy, but I don't really see how you work on this team. 60 discipline. It's just not, it's not gonna happen. I think he's got to go. I like him a lot, but the penalty minutes are just too excessive. And then Paul Ledoux has a great chance to at least be a really good AHLer for us. Kind of someone in between. Wants to come back as well. I'm going to offer him 3 years. And then that way he's just an AHL staple. Works for me. Pretty good there. And then Austin Strand. Honestly, same thing. Someone who can just be an AHL staple for us. These two just constantly being good options for the AHL club. Matt Luff does want to re-sign, which is good. I can bump that up to 3 years. He'll still be an RFA, so that's tremendous. And if we can save a little bit of money here, that would be great. Drop that down. I mean, really, it would just be $1 million flat. But, I mean, if Matt Luff signs that contract, that's tremendous. And, again, I'm only allowed to up the years or down it by 1. So 3 years at $1 million would be a steal if he's willing to sign that. Paul, nah. I mean, I could bring him back in case he gets decent improvement off of the fact that he, played in the NHL. We'll bring him back for that contract. Maybe he gets some sort of credit for playing nearly 40 games in the NHL this past year. Left wings, Grundstrom. Thank God we don't have to worry about this being a big deal. But we are going to make it a 3-year deal to try and save a bit of fundage. And that would drop it down to 135, which is a great deal for Carl Grundstrom. If he's willing to sign that, that'd be phenomenal. Austin Wagner. Bring that up to 3. Try to save a little bit of money with the 85%. Brings it to 1. Yeah, it's perfect. Another really good deal for us for a young player if that goes through. And then Asimov is okay. Let's go 2 years. Give him what he wants there. And we're good to go. So, I mean, no major contracts to worry about for the most part. As Wagner's going to reject due to the money. Carl Grundstrom's back. Walker signs. Matt Luff rejected for the moment. Strand resigns. Ledoux rejects. Asimov signs. Rempal signs. Okay. So some of the guys weren't too happy about being hit with the 85%. But with Luff, pretty straightforward. 3 years. Just basically hit him with what he wants. Slight discount. That would still be phenomenal. Wagner, same thing. 3 years. Try to save a little bit of money because I'm a cheapskate. And Paul Ledoux. Let's go 3 years and give him what he wants. Will that go through for that trio? Let's find out. Wagner signs. Luff signs. Ledoux rejects. Okay. Whoa, easy there, Glitchy. Easy. There we go. That was a bit weird. With Ledoux, could tell him to kick rocks. Let's give him a little bit of money. Just because it'll help morale to keep him. Okay, maybe not. So Paul Ledoux is going to be on the way out because he just simply, he didn't want to resign. He didn't want to take the money. So with that, we are good to go. We have nearly $18 million to work with. We do get Sean Walker on an interesting contract. Depending on what his overall is heading into next season, obviously that'll answer the question as to whether or not I should have traded him and Jeff Carter at the draft. Obviously, this defense needs work, but between Doughty, Walker, Roy, Clegg, Bjorn Fott, Mikey Anderson potentially as well, who just debuted and scored his first NHL goal, you know, it's looking okay. There's some level of promise here. We're getting there, kind of. We still got a long way to go with this team, obviously, but slow and steady is going to be the approach. So, free agency-wise, again, I am allowed one big signing per position. That is forward, defense, and goaltender. It can be a big overall, or it can be a big-time prospect. Now, obviously, it's a little bit more difficult to tell at times, but we're going to do what we can. Of course, role is the only thing that we know for sure, whereas Crawford and Markstrom are both listed as elites. Here's the issue. And wow, Ingram's backup level. Georgiev's there too. There was no available trade for Jonathan Quick. And the thing is, while I like some of the young prospects that we have coming up through the system, I don't think we're going to be competitive anytime soon. So we might as well just keep Jonathan Quick between the pipes, stay loyal to the guy, and, you know, like I said, kind of the same reasoning and rationale for keeping Jeff Carter, is that we let the younger guys, you know, benefit from playing next to someone of his caliber because we're not going to be good anyway, rather than just having to be, all right, all the kids in the pool, just everyone go have fun as you get stomped. Like, yeah, we might as well hang on to some of the veterans, although now I say that, we do get the option to trade Quick for a 6th and a 7th. Actually. Again, it's just Kopitar, Brown, and Doughty that we technically have to stay loyal to. So let's take one more look at the goaltenders here. As you know, Markstrom's not going to help. He's not in our window. Holtby's not going to help. I don't think there's really anything we have to do. Ingram, if he wasn't an RFA, would be interesting, but unfortunately he is. So do we have prospects? We don't. We pretty much... Justice Anowin's there. Okay. In terms of goalie prospects, Dawes, Coronar. I'm looking for guys who aren't asking for the minimum. Kevin Mandolese. When were you drafted? 6th round. He's not going to have that great of a potential. David Tendek. Not going to have that great of a potential. Ersan? 5th round. Probably still going to be listed as a backup. And then Justice. Hello. Okay, so Justice, I think, should probably be our guy. Alexis Gravel is there as well. But picking up Justice seems like a good idea. Jordan Coy is there. Probably butchering his name, and I'm sorry. So I think our goalie pickup here is going to be Justice Enunen. Stats aren't great, but the potential should be okay. Hopefully we can pick him up, and that just gives us another goalie in the system that we can work with. Defensively, in terms of big names, I still have it sorted by two-way. Whoops, I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. I thought I resorted that. So, Petrangelo's there. Doesn't really help us at 30. We're probably not going to be winning in the next couple of years. Schultz. I just don't want to pay Justin Schultz $9 million. We're not going after Sergachev. I don't really see the need to sign like Shattenkirk, Green, Brody, or Gustafsson and take away the time from our younger guys. It just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. So again, I think we're going to look for a prospect. And hopefully, again, the main thing to look for here is someone who's not looking for league min. It'll be a sign of at least having somewhat of a decent potential. Like Miska Kuokkanen, 5th round pick. He's probably a medium 7th at best. Just for how we typically set up prospects and where they're drafted. Unfortunately, in terms of, hey, good prospects, it's not looking too good. Bernie almost asked for over $800K, but yeah, no, this isn't looking too good for us. Let's see, Santu Kinnunen, no. Well, I think we might just pass on selecting a defenseman unless there is somebody here who's close to being able to be considered a bit more of a prospect. Not really. So we're not even going to go for a defenseman right now. Although Goulet is there, but RFA, I'm not even sure what I'd really have to... 2 years. Can I mean, we have no set rule as to what I can do. So if I were to offer you what you're asking for, no picks required. There's no rule that says, and maybe this is something that we should implement, but there's no rule that says I can't just offer the max for Mr. Goulet here without having to give up a draft pick. And, we just see if it goes through. I forget what the minimum is. Damn it. 1275. Hey, there we go. So 2 years at 1275 for Brendan Goulet. Let's see if that goes through. Why not? No harm in it. And then for the big time forward signing, I feel like I've used Taylor Hall a lot. I do. Eric Holla wouldn't be the worst player in the world. Kubalik would be very interesting. But obviously, yeah, that's a decent chunk of change. Could bring Corey Perry here just to piss everybody off. Oh, man. I like Mike Hoffman, too, Holla, but a lot of these guys, it's just, do we really want to pay Taylor Hall $10.5 million? 50 goals last year. Is that going to maintain? We don't yet know. With the scoring going to be slightly dropped. I feel like just because of where the scoring was set to, it makes a lot of sense this year to hold off. Like, Perhorkin's still looking for 4.7, which, 30 goals last year, but damn. So I think, again, here, we're going to look for a prospect, if there happens to be one. And it doesn't really look like the case. Johnny Brodzinski, who was a former Kings player anyway. Schutz and Holmberg. Indeed, it dumps JFK. Well, that's why his potential's down. It dumps him into the list. I don't think we're going to go for any forwards either. Mitch Holscher isn't going to be that great. Hude, Kevin Maki. How good's Kevin Maki? He's not. All right. I think we're going to forego a forward signing here as well because just damn. There really isn't much to do here for a team that doesn't want to spend a ton of money. There just isn't. So I'm going to hold it at that. And we're going to see what happens here over the next few days. And we'll make the best of it. Justice Anuin has signed. Anunin. I don't know how to pronounce his name properly. Goalie rejected. Okay. And then forward-wise, we didn't go for anybody. So the game plan here, let's take a quick look at where players are signing thus far. Now, at the end of the first month of free agency, beyond that point, I'm allowed to go for whoever I want, which is very nice. No restrictions on that in terms of, like, okay, I can go after as many forwards. You know, basically fill out the roster. No trades and everything still apply, though, of course. But signing-wise, Corey Crawford goes to New Jersey. Mike Green to Dallas. Schultz went to Vancouver for the year. Some pretty big deals. Edmondson to Nashville. Goulet, of course, stayed in Anaheim. Gustis in Colorado. A lot of one-year contracts, which doesn't surprise me with the inflated league numbers. So, like, Taylor Hall is still available. Let's sim about a week ahead. We'll double-check back and just slowly work our way up to August 1st, where I'll have the ability to, fill out this roster as best I can. But obviously, we're going to be relying on a lot of youth this year, which I don't hate. Georgiev to Columbus. Having to come to move Marlowe back to San Jose. That's phenomenal. Joakim Ryan ended up going to Boston. Andy Green to Vancouver. Trevor Lewis went to Carolina. Ben Hutton signed a big deal with New Jersey. Go get your money, Ben, because you weren't going to get it here. You were not. Grice to Buffalo. Cody Ceci, Dylan DeMello, and Radko Gudas all to Calgary. That's outrageous. Absolutely insane. Again, we saw the Crawford deal. So Taylor Hall still hasn't signed, nor has Dom Kubalik. So, interesting. I fear for Kubalik that he might end up just being stuck if Chicago can't make a deal, which could very well happen. So here we go. August 1st, I now have freedom to sign however many players I want to help fill out this roster. And let's see. So Sergachev is also still a free agent, judging by that news piece. Ryan Miller back to Buffalo. We're seeing some pretty cool signings here for, just the purpose of where players are going. Curtis McDermott went to Vegas, which a better rival at this point. But again, I feel like it made sense to just let him go. The penalties were just simply outrageous. Elvis goes to New Jersey. A lot of goalies on the move. Philippe Myers, Doroff. Matt Martin to St. Louis. They re-signed Roman Polak too, so that's a decent amount of grit. Holtby went to Ottawa. So Taylor Hall is still going to be there. Very, very interesting. So just to take a quick look at the team and how we're shaping up. 34 contracts, obviously. So goalie-wise, we have 6 guys signed. So we're good. We don't have to worry about anything else. We're fine. The NHL level, right now, we have Walker and Doughty. Zeke's a depth defenseman, so he's probably going to be worth signing. We could leave him unsigned, but he's close to NHL level, which is great news for us. We just don't know how good he is right now, so he's an option to sign. And obviously, I guess just in general, we have 4, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3 with Movari, 4. So, I mean, at least another 4 defensemen and potentially signing Zekov. And obviously, in terms of first liners, we do have space, which is what I was originally going to factor in with Taylor Hall. I don't want to sign anybody for over 2.5 because I don't want to get into kind of the money moves right now. So I know like Chara's there, but even him, it's a bit more money to spend than I would prefer. Same with the likes of Cuckoo, who's an RFA. So, who to go for here to help fill out this roster? We're just kind of basing it off of names more than anything, but we should go for these minor league top twos. So, for the hell of it, Casey Nelson, try to sign you for the year. Alex Biega, sign you for the year. I won't bring in Holzer because that's just wrong to see Corbinian Holzer in a Kings uniform. Let's go for Ricola. Why not? And Kevin Connaughton. Kevin Connaughton works too. And then forward-wise, again, Taylor Hall's there, down to 8.7 for the year. Tough to say that he and Mike Hoffman wouldn't be interesting additions. Very, very tough to say that. Because they obviously would be. We'd have to factor in the no movements and the no trades. Which, I mean, yeah, the question basically for both of them would be, we'd have to spin for the no movement clause. And then potentially spin for the no trade as well. Which I think is how we were doing it before. Again, though, raises an interesting question. So with this team, right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So really only 7 forwards that have to play at the NHL level. But depending on development is where we could get in trouble because we have a lot of depth forwards. So I'm hesitant to sign players because think that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think I have to hold off because otherwise we're immediately having to look at signing players or potentially trading away players because we signed somebody. And obviously, again, bringing in Taylor Hall, it's just going to make us better than we want to be. It really is. It's going to make us better than we want to be. I don't think we're going to be able to hold on to him full time anyway. Because, yeah, he's going to be good. He's going to be good. So I think I'm going to hold off on the big names. And we're going to look for some depth additions here. We don't need too many. Because we're going to be on 44 contracts. So, like, 2 players-ish? Ish. Let's go for Mr. Carr here. And for another minor league scorer, who's a name that we like? Seth Griffith, JFK, Bo Bennett, Corey Conacher. Corey Conacher. Why not? Let's bring in Corey Conacher for the season. And with that, we should be okay. Again, there really weren't any big name players that I wanted. I need to check how close we are to the cap floor, though. Just to be safe. It's Biega signs, Ricola, Connaughton, Carr, Nelson, and Conacher. Sweet. So what I need here is to go to contracts. Hopefully, if I view the legend. Okay, nope, you're not going to tell me what the minimum is. That's not good. Projected spent is 68. Oh, God, it doesn't tell you where the cap floor is. Okay, we're going to have to play it. We're going to have to play it safe, I think, with a safety netted contract, because I don't know for sure. Actually, you know what? Here, give me a second. You get to enjoy the sound of keyboard. So, NHL 2019-20 cap floor. What is the cap floor? I need to know. I know the ceiling was at 81.5. What was the floor? The floor was, oh my God. Where is it? Cap friendly has to have. This is great. This is great for this video. This is great. What the hell was the cap floor? This is a nightmare. Why can I not find it? Okay. The cap floor was 58. 0.8. Okay, so we should be fine. There's no way the cap floor went up by 10. So we're fine. And if we're not, and some contracts get reworked by the game, I'm going to be very upset. Because we should be okay. So I know that we had one staff member whose contract was up. I'm going to, in a move that I'm going to regret later on, we're going to sim ahead just so we can kind of get a look at what this team is going to be. See what kind of player development we have, and then see whether or not we're signing the likes of Turcotte or our new shiny Russian defenseman. And we're going to kind of see what this team shapes up to be. And then I turn it over to you guys in the comments where you'll be able to help me decide the goals, the challenges even, for this upcoming season. So first and foremost, contracts. Let's see what we got. So goalie-wise, I can't see roles from here. Okay, that's fine. Don't worry about it. We will just go over to roster moves. We're listed as a rebuilder, thank God. So, goalie moves. Starter and backup. Perfect. Okay. Didn't expect Vevalainen to be that good. I will leave it up to you as to whether or not you feel as though a backup can be a healthy scratch, because technically they're a backup, but not in the AHL. Am I allowed to carry 3 goaltenders? Or am I getting rid of somebody? Is that fair? And if I have to get rid of somebody, it's probably going to be Cal. Hate to tell you. So all the Cal Peterson fans out there can, throw support his way. Defensively, it's Doughty, Walker, Roy, Clegg, and that's about it. Wow. Okay, so a lot of our defensemen didn't really develop. So if I bump up Connaughton really quickly, we'd be over the limit. Don't worry about it. Let's bump down Biega, bump up Connaughton. So defensively, let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And call it Biega, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 in the AHL. That works. So I think we're going to have Anderson and Bjorn fought in the minors for one more season, which means this AHL or this NHL defense might as well be an AHL defense. It's going to be kind of rough. Might even send down Cale Clegg. And in forwards, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A lot of depth forwards. Let's send down Carr and Conacher really quickly. I think we're going to send down Clegg, too. It'll benefit him a little bit more, I feel, being in the minors this year on a top pairing with Bjorn Fott. Let's call up Casey Nelson. So the AHL defense is looking okay. The NHL defense is going to be Detroit-esque. Right here we have 10, 11, and 12. Anybody who needs to be called up? The answer is no. So we are good to go then with a bunch of these depth forwards. It'll be Amadio and Wagner on the fourth line with somebody. So again, that was 10. And we'll figure out between the likes of Carr and Conacher who's going to be the healthy scratch of a call-up. That's if we decide that we want the likes of Luff as a depth forward, Lizotte as well. That's if we want these guys, Trevor Moore, to be on a bad NHL team or to be on what could be a decent AHL team. And I think that's another decision that I might throw your way as far as like, hey, what do you think? Because we could send that trio down. Furk could stay on roster to be a bit of a sacrificial lamb. But like Conacher, Carr, and then probably Rempal again, just because we don't really expect them to make it. That AHL team would be stacked, and the NHL team, not saying it's a full tank, just mostly. And then Asimont could be called up as well to be that final dude. So we certainly have options as far as how we want to build the team this season, and that includes the likes of Moore, Luff, and Lizotte, as far as whether or not we want them to be on a good AHL team or on what's probably going to be a bad NHL team, let's be honest. Of course, the decision over whether or not we should have traded Jeff Carter is also up there. I'm not against running the youth and giving them a chance out of the gates, because when you factor in that Alex Turcotte could be signed right now, we don't have to sign him, No rules about that. But Turcotte could certainly be signed. He is listed as a third-line forward. And in terms of anybody else, I think it's just going to be Zeke listed as a depth defenseman. So, I mean, Zeke, we could sign Zeke and Turcotte, or we could hold off. And I think that's going to kind of dictate how we build this team. If we want to sign Turcotte and Zeke and play them both at the NHL level to start, I'm going to call up the likes of Yourn, some of our younger guys in the AHL, give them a chance on the NHL side of things. So it might make it a little bit difficult to dictate really what the goals for the season are, because we do have decisions to make as far as just how we want the structure of the team to be built. What do we do with the goaltending? You know, we have 2 backups technically, which we need to decide if a backup can be a healthy scratch or not, because technically they're a backup. Obviously, there's no depth goaltender role. So we have a couple of things to answer before we begin our first real season with this team. But regardless, we're going to be garbage. We saved a lot of money. Things are looking okay, though. It's just, when do we throw the young lions into the ring and see what they can do? So this has been a bit of a long episode, but I wanted to make it up to you for the fact that, trying to, I know that hasn't been the greatest upload schedule to start, but hey, I was busy this weekend. What do you want from me? I do thank you very much for watching, though. Looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say in the comments, of course, about everything that we just mentioned for this video. And again, should I have pulled the trigger on the Jeff Carter trade? What do you think of the Sean Walker contract? Yeah. Thank you for watching. You know the deal. Support the video, support the channel. Check out everything in the description, the socials, the Twitch, the Discord, the Patreon, and a shout out to my patrons. I love you. I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a good one. Take it easy. And bye-bye.